Why hello there, and welcome to Levine Geometry 8.1. This is the first section in Chapter 8, which is all about area. 8.1 is going to go over the equations for area. So I want you to go ahead and write down 8.1 area. And I will tell you what I want you to write down each time. But go ahead and write that down as I move on. What I'm going to want you to write down here is rectangle, parallelogram, and triangle. And I want to make sure you then fill out the area formula. And you may already know some of these area formulas, but let's go ahead and write down rectangle is area equals base times height, and parallelogram is area equals base times height. Now, a little trick to remember which ones are base times height, which areas equals base times height, is we can do a little Sesame Street activity, a counting Sesame Street activity. Whichever shapes have two parallel sides. So here, these sides are parallel in blue under rectangle, and these sides are parallel. That's two sides. Any shape that has two pairs of sides that are parallel, you're going to use area equals base times height as your equation. So if this was Sesame Street, Cookie Monster would come on and he'd be like, how many have two cookies that are parallel? And then he'd eat both cookies and the whole thing would be ruined. Luckily, there's no Cookie Monster here. Unluckily for you, I don't know how to do a good Cookie Monster impersonation. But the point is, if you see a shape that has two pairs of parallel sides, to find the area, it's base times height. You know that for rectangles, you know that for squares, you also need to know that for parallelograms. Triangle, another one I hope you've gone over. It should be area equals base times height divided by 2. Okay? And this is a home video I'm making, so some of this when I can't type it in as well. It's base times height divided by 2. Or you also might know it better as 1/2 base times height. Either way, it's the same thing. Multiplying by 1/2 and dividing by 2 are the exact same. Go ahead and write these down. Rectangle, draw a picture of a rectangle, write the equation. Parallelogram, draw a picture of a parallelogram, write the equation. Triangle, do the same. Pause this if you need to, but I'm going to move on to the last two equations, trapezoid and kite. Now if you look, neither one of these have two pairs of parallel sides. A trapezoid only has one pair of parallel sides. So its equation will not be area equals base times height. The area of a trapezoid is going to equal base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times height. So go ahead and write this down. It's base 1 plus base 2 all divided by 2. Now if you notice, base 1 plus base 2 over 2 is something we learned earlier. It's a mid-segment equation. So if they give you the mid-segment, you can replace all of base 1 plus base 2 over 2 with whatever the mid-segment is. So go ahead and write that. Area equals b1 plus b2 over 2 times the height. Now for a kite, there's things called diagonals. Now they don't really teach you this in Sesame Street, Elmo, or Cookie Monster does not teach you this. But a diagonal is a line segment that connects the two opposite vertices in a kite. So the equation for kite is area equals diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. Diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 all divided by 2. Okay? D1 times D2 all divided by 2. Please get these two down. These are all the equations we're going to learn in this section. Eventually we'll do a polygon and a circle. So get these down, pause the video if you need these, and then move on. We have a couple of examples really quickly. The area of this rectangle, the area equals base times height. So the area equals 12 times 19. And that's going to give you the area. So we're going to get area equals 228. And it has to be in the right units. Well, if 19 was meters and 12 was meters, if we multiply meters by meters, we get meters squared. So 228 meters squared. Now number 2, they give you the area and they ask you to find the base. So now we just write the equation, always do that. Then write the area is 96 yards squared and it equals base times the height, which is 12. So here, to solve for b, we just divide both sides by 12 and we'll end up getting exactly, that's a 2, we'll end up getting exactly what b is. So we end up, let me switch back, we end up getting b equals 8. And you, not 88, you can use your calculator for these. So we move on. Pause this if you need to get this, but I at least want one of these problems written down. Now we're going to go over here. Number 3, it'll give you the perimeter. We're going to work on that one in class. If you're able to do that, I will give you 5 bonus points for number 3. Number 4, we get to parallelogram. Guess what? Just like the Sesame Street corny joke I made, there's 2 parallel sides, 2 pairs of parallel sides. So area equals base times height. Now here's what I want you to notice. The base is 12. The height is 8. It is not 9. It is not 9. The height is perpendicular to the base. And we see that little perpendicular sign right here. That means that 8 is the height and 12 is the base. So we go ahead and write 12 times 8. And we just did that problem, so it should be 96. We did the reverse of that problem, and it should be inches. And it should be inches squared, because 12 was inches and 8 was inches. You've got to put the units in on this. Over here, it should be 8 yards. So go ahead and pause that and write that one down. And then we have these last couple. This one is a triangle. We talked about it. The area equals the base times the height divided by 2. So we're just going to do that problem. Again, here we have the perpendicular. So 5 is the height. 5 is the distance of that perpendicular side. So we go ahead and we write area equals the base, which is 8 centimeters, times the height, which is 5 centimeters, and you get area, and it's divided by 2. So you end up with area equals 40 divided by 2, which is area equals 20. And it is centimeters squared. Now a kite is the diagonals. Now look, this is part of the diagonal. It's this part of it. This is the other part. So we just add those together. We just add those together to get the diagonals. These on the outside are just distractors. They're not the diagonals. The diagonals are in the inside of the triangle. And the area for a kite is D1 plus D2 all divided by 2. That's a great division sign. So we go ahead and we do area equals 16 plus 9 is 25. That's the one diagonal. Plus 12 plus 12 is 24. That's the other diagonal. And we divide that by 2. So we end up getting 25 plus 24, which is 49, divided by 2. We can leave it at that, or that equals 24.5. And that's going to be in, there are no units, so you write units squared. Last one, you don't have to write the kite down, we'll go over that more. Last one is a trapezoid. It's the last equation we learned. Area equals, it's 1/2 times the base 1 plus base 2. And that's divided by 2, so 1/2. And that's times height. So we go ahead and we do that equation. They give us base 1. Again, there's no units here. They give us base 1, 13 plus 25. And it's times 1/2. which I said is the same as dividing by 2. Again, I want you to get used to seeing either equation. And that is times height. In this case, height is 6 times 6. So we do this equation following our parentheses, and we get area equals 38 divided by 2 times 6. So area equals 19. That's 38 divided by 2 times 6. And 19, as you see on the calculator, 19 times 6 is 114 units, and it is squared. That's it for today. I showed you how to find area. It's just plugging in numbers to the equation. So the key here, memorizing the equations. Have a good evening.